Hello, beautiful humans. My name is Annie, and I am your expert weirdo here at Holy Hell Hope. Right now, it is the very end of September 1st of 2019, and I wanted to bring you a pick a card offering for spiritual vibes for the month of September. To correlate with your stacks, you're going to have the option of these four figures. This is a black tourmaline with green tourmaline inclusion carved dog named Grim. This is a carved soapstone hippo named Hilda, a gift to me from a very beloved friend. This Pegasus has no name, but he is a magnificent bastard. I'm sure you'd agree. And similarly, this fella has no name. This little horned red dragon with a beak and a little blue ball. Just to give you a sense of what I have in mind for these spiritual vibes, this is my intention for the reading. First, a card from the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. And that card specifically to represent the energy presenting to you this month to help you address your shadows. Those aspects of yourself that might be blind spots, areas you don't like to go, events that might crop up that will bring to the surface difficult emotions. So an oracle of guidance for that. Also a goddess guidance oracle by Doreen Virtue. A beautiful feminine figure to give you some inspiration for the light, for those aspects of yourself and of your daily life, which are opportunities for you to live into the highest vibration, brightest light, and truest good. The capital G good, as far as I'm concerned. And in the middle there, an oracle for the transformation that is necessary or inevitable for you this month and the energy that is going to help you with it. From the Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish. I have already laid out those 3 oracle cards for each of these stacks, and then I will be adding a word of warning and a word of solace from the Osho Zen Tarot. This is my first time using this deck, and I'm very excited about it. They do very different things with the suits, with the court cards, with their interpretations of the cards, so it'll be interesting to see what it has to say. So those are the resources that I'm bringing to this reading. And these are the kinds of guidance that I thought might be helpful for us all. And I'd also like to bring in a little brass bell to open up each of the 4 readings. So, before we begin the first reading, again, I'd like to present to you your 4 figurines. See if I can get you a good angle. Handsome guys. Let me see. This one I feel is female. And male. And I don't know. In fact, for those of you who may select these stacks, if you end up getting some vibes from the figurines themselves, please do drop that in the comments, because I am very open to receiving any insights you've got as well. I don't know them very well. They seem nice. So I will give you a second to think about these 4 stacks, these 4 figures, these 4 general gestured directions of the space that you're looking at. Whatever it is that draws you to a stack, I'll give you a moment, and then I will pause and segue into the first reading. Group number 1. Let's start with a nice bell. I want to apologize to you folks that I have already attempted this reading once, and your cards are the only ones that I have already seen before I just canceled that effort. So I apologize that your reading might be shorter, but also more coherent because I have had more time to reflect on the meanings of these cards. The oracle for assisting you in your shadow is the card of winter, the sacredness of pausing. I was automatically struck by the fact that here I am excited for autumn, and the first card that I'm interacting with in this deck for the season is winter, which seems to be jumping ahead a bit. But of course, winter is a time of deep pause. It is often preternaturally, so uncannily quiet, just quiet and soft. It kind of feels like an in-between time and pervades space, and until, for me, much open space feels like it is in between in some sense. I don't know if that is resonant for you, but of course, traditionally, the winter season was a time of no growth, of little activity, of little productivity, a very lean time for just about every community. And the card absolutely is saying that for you this month, it will be necessary to take some time to reflect, to assess the resources that are available to you, that you have gathered in the past through your habits and your personal nature, and the resources of maybe joy, or of deep faith, or of a broad social circle, certainly financial resources. These are all things that you will be reassessing this month. To help with your light, you have the goddess Sarasvati, who I acknowledge I don't know much of, and I never want to presume with the gods and goddesses of other faiths that are not mine. But I do know that Sarasvati is an incredibly significant and beloved goddess. And in my reading from these cards a little bit earlier, I learned that she was the wife, she is the wife of Brahma, who is the Godhead himself. So she is the queen goddess in that sense, at least. So now that we have these cards side by side, I am reminded that I was also struck by the very strong symbolism of the color white here. The swan and this musical instrument are both symbols of hers. And of course, she is here depicted in white with her foot resting in a lotus blossom. The arts, express yourself through creative activities. Wintertime is often an excellent time period, literally, to invest in hobbies that you might not otherwise spend a lot of time on, because of course, if you might be more inclined to be out and about in other seasons, you now, kind of need to stay in, perhaps by necessity with weather, and you might get a little stir crazy and find yourself, playing a lot of Sudoku or whatever it might be. But since we have your shadow and light here side by side, I will go also to the oracle books. Stacey DeMarco says about winter: lightly I step, for the earth falls asleep, a lullaby to rest and pause, the soul's secrets to keep. Death is frightening even though, or perhaps because, it is inescapable. However, as we move into winter, we know it signals a literal and metaphysical death. In some parts of the planet, the extreme weather means snow and ice buries all life, and the ground lies fallow and still. When this card appears to you, it means that this is a good time to let what no longer serves you die away. Where it seems natural and right to let things that have been bothering you for some time die back, take real action to change those things. Anything that is superfluous, extra, and burdensome, release it. So her text is emphasizing the action of release, but the card, of course, speaks of the moment before that, the moment of reflection and assessment. Because it is a process. It can be very difficult to discern what should and should not be in our lives. Don't get me wrong, most of us would be able to come up with a list of things if we were asked. So, what kind of patterns do you continue to perpetuate in your life that just aren't good for you? We could probably think of a few things. But that doesn't mean that the death is easy to cause or to experience, for that matter. And there is a lot of emotion in loss, in many cases. And when you do have an overflowing of emotion, that can be an especially good time to be creative with the inspiration of Sarasvati. I really hope I'm not saying that wrong. I mean absolute respect to this nice lady. She says to you, you are a limitless being. If it seems that you have time, money, or other restrictions, it is simply because your mind is focused upon the material world. You can unlimit yourself by lifting the cloak of the material world from your focus. Music is essential for the expression of non-material ideals and energies. Music colors our surroundings with emanations from the highest vibrational fields. It allows us to escape all limitations in our thinking and our very existence. Surround yourself in music and allow it to stimulate your own creative thinking and to spark new ideas. Flow with the music and give yourself permission to investigate and experiment with putting your creative ideas into action. Enjoy being limitless. That is beautiful. And is certainly the truest and most life-giving form of that old lemons to lemonade adage. Flow with the music. Put your ideas into action in the context of a necessary loss or transition, to imagine yourself limitless, to realize that you are in fact limitless. She suggests that music is an especially excellent way to submerge yourself in the intuitive, in the mysterious, in the in-between, in my terminology. There are many ways to spend time in between. In the time right before you go to sleep, you are in that in-between space. It's an excellent time to try to meditate. I say try because I ain't good at it. But any meditation, of course, is about the in-between, to my mind, to my argument. And of course, imbibing intoxicants is another way of slipping into the in-between. But music is a very reliable and very healthy, and again, life-giving way to connect to and open up to receiving from the mysterious. The mysterious, again, tying into the fear of the unknown, which is often such a significant part of that in-between time, the necessary time of waiting to see what happens, waiting to see what the next year, the next season brings. Your transformation for this month might be a difficult one, since I have seen this card. A twist in the tale. The unexpected, a change you did not see coming. I am not familiar with this myth. Apparently, this is the idea is that these are twins, an elf girl and a ferret. That these are twinned beings. Gosh, it's so hard to get contrast here. But as far as I can tell, this is analogous to the Tower card, meaning that there will be a revelation for you this month. An event will take place. Most likely it will happen to you. It is possible that you will have to enact it, that you will have to create the spark, that you might have to light the fire that burns the edifices inside you down. And that's a painful thing to be asked to do. But a twist in the tale, the unexpected, a change you did not see coming. Lucy Cavendish says, number 34. Many things are unexpected, just as these twins, this elf girl and her ferret, are unexpected. Many things should not be, and yet they are. We can bend certain rules and leave other laws inviolate. When this card shows up, you will have done everything to ensure that you and those you love are as safe as can be. You will have taken precautions. You will have perhaps had the foresight to store up your metaphorical reserves for the season. But even so, the unexpected is always tough. But it can be a gateway into a brilliant new self where you know your own immense power, courage, tenacity, and ability to suffer without becoming attached to suffering. In shamanism, it is known as the initiatory crisis, and unless you meet these events like a warrior, you may have little wisdom to share. Every rite of passage will be repeated until you fully learn its unique lesson. The seasons will continue to pass. What goes around will come around. You will have to try until you succeed in this rite of passage. Courage, action, and practicing being your best self in spite of events are the gifts that change brings. Without it, you are static, dormant, and stagnant, and none of these fully supports your magnificent life potential. So again, the lemons to lemonade message that difficult events are many things. Painful almost always. Bullshit very, very often. And they don't stop being those things. They are those things all at the same time. They don't stop being bullshit, and your anger is always valid. And also, you have the opportunity, and some would argue the responsibility, to make a meaning out of your experiences, a meaning that can contribute to your well-being. And that is what you are being asked to do. You may have to get creative about it, absolutely. And incidentally, I wanted to note that, that writing might also be an especially helpful idea for you right now in terms of reflecting on the emotional experience of transition or of loss. Certainly keeping track of how you are responding to any significant event. And please always remember, all of your emotions are valid. You can have many emotions at once. And one of them can be the emotion of motivation to make something good out of it. Let's see what the tarot has to say. Holy Ones and Spirit Folk, I am looking for a word of warning and a word of solace. For those who chose the tourmaline dog and are facing these situations with the support of these energies, what is a word of warning that is needed for these folks? What do they need to know? What can we warn them about? No, come on. Work with me, buddy. What's a word of warning? All right. Thank you. Word of warning, clinging to the past. 5 of water. So 5 of cups, traditionally the card of loss, the figure weeping over 3 cups spilt with 2 cups still standing. Those 2 cups still standing in the traditional imagery is always a reminder again to check your resources. Always holler back to what you do have at your disposal to make something out of your situation. But here we have clinging to the past in terms of being unable to see the situation at hand. Oh gosh, this is going to be difficult to capture. This may just not be a deck that's appropriate for these video readings. Please do give me some feedback on the visual quality. But yeah, this is a figure who has a cube on their head, and the cube is cracked and is beginning to fall apart. But on the face of it, it is covered in mouths and words and noise and cacophony and memory and regret. When you are reflecting on your loss, acknowledge and honor your regret, and also, just make a point of saying to yourself those 2 words. And also, I will get out of bed this morning. You know? I will face the day. I will find another creative way to, do my business or flip life the bird or whatever it might be. Word of solace for these fine folks. Oh, the 8 of Cups, the letting go. Traditionally, this is the figure that it has walked away from a pile of 8 cups and is hiking into the mountains to see what else can be found. Letting go. Water dripping from one leaf to the next. A lot of water, a lot of emotionality. I do very much want to acknowledge that whatever event might be challenging is going to be emotionally tumultuous. But also, the Queen of Wands. Oh, heck yes. She's my favorite, I will admit, even though I have very little fire energy, fire sign stuff for me. But the Queen of Wands is the open and honest and fully empowered queen. She is a hostess. She creates a warm and welcoming home. She creates safe haven, sanctuary in the storm, a safe place in the chaos. You are encouraged, yes, to light your candle, to light your spark, your creativity. She has a candle specifically and a plate full of food, even in the lean times, taking care of herself and of her loved ones. That is your encouragement. Please do your best to see what is truly not just in front of, but around you, what is available to you. Be prepared for emotion, but also take heart that the more emotion you experience, the more wisdom, the more skill you might have in tackling them. And this may well be an opportunity to walk away in terms of having some fresh start, some fresh growth, that nice green to spice up all this blue. And yeah, light the hearth fire in your soul. Make sure that your spark is burning. Amen, amen. Sarasvati, to the best of my knowledge, is a genuinely welcoming, warm, and compassionate goddess. And my thinking is that it is always worth, throwing up a hello to the nice lady. So perhaps you may want to give her a Google or just say her name a few times with a smile on your face. But there is light in any darkness that you might be facing. Absolutely. And of course, if you do feel like you might be able to use some support that I might be able to offer you, I do offer private readings, and you can contact me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please do like, subscribe, comment, etc. And many blessings to you. Amen. Group number 2. All right. The energy that is presenting itself to help you with engaging your shadow this month is Zombie, the card of control. So this would be analogous to the Devil card in tarot, in that this is referring to anything that is chaining you down. So it might be an addiction, greed, avarice, rage. It could be an abusive figure in your life, a relationship that is abusive. It could be your own relationship with yourself in terms of self-control and willpower. The dead arise, voices and mumbling, after our brains, our screams they are tumbling. Well, that's corny. Zombies are not merely a fun icon of popular culture. Traditionally, they are mainly associated with the African and Haitian voodoo religion. Zombies are said to be dead bodies reanimated by incantations chanted by a learned practitioner called a Bokor, and they are usually enlivened for a purpose. The practitioner is said to capture part of a living soul to animate the body, and that it is always a temporary action, as the soul cannot be contained in that decomposing body for long, or God will take the soul back. One of the most frightening aspects of the idea of zombieism is the idea that our souls and consciousness could be trapped inside a body that does not do our bidding but someone else's. Another is the idea of being buried alive, the fate of some, it is said, who get trapped in already dead bodies. When the zombie card steps unsteadily into your life, it is time to look at the concept of control. Do you want to control everything, leaving little to free expression? Do you choose partners who are not your equal so that they are more easily manipulated and changed to your liking? Or do you allow that to happen to you? If you are not living your most authentic life, it is time to look at why and how to change that. Well, I certainly acknowledge to the previous group that I think many of us would be able to name a few patterns that we would really be better off not continuing. And I think that's the case for everyone. But this situation here, this card, is suggesting that in this month, the issue of control will come to a head for you in some way. There will be an event or a particular interaction that will necessitate the confrontation, either between two parties or for you to confront within yourself your relationship to power, your sense of being empowered or disempowered by the situations that you are in. Perhaps you yourself would say the situations that you create for yourself. So that is your shadow. And to balance it, you have the inspiring presence of Kali. Oh gosh, endings and beginnings. Whew! Hello. Okay. I was wondering about this. I was wondering if I took a gamble on a 45 card deck to say that we're looking for the goddess to align with the light. I'm like, what happens when I get a goddess that is not so light in herself? Well, we have Kali, who is the goddess of destruction in Hinduism, here labeled endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter. This is very much the same kind of emphasis in the previous reading, and so I wonder what your transformative figure will be here in this last card. But absolutely, I want to lift up the very strong connection of the deep blue. I've mentioned before that deep blue is deeply disturbing to me because it is representative of the emotional depths that we do not wish to plunge into. Kali, helping to lead you into your light. Yeah, yeah. Fireworks certainly do give off a lot of light. Let's see what Doreen Virtue has to say. This is her message to you. I sing praises to those whose hearts accept the universal order, which only appears to be chaotic and ever-changing. In actuality, everything is designed down to the smallest detail to be in perfect operation. The dance of the universe is a happy one, with energy swirling and twirling in a never-ending celebration of life itself. Join this dance, dear one, and enjoy the remarkable journey of the weavings of the story of your life. Do not fear what appears to be a change or a loss. It is only the transitioning orbit of energy interplaying with you and your loved ones. Embrace it as evidence that you are alive. Embrace your deepest emotions as a signal of your true human essence. Amen, especially on that last slide, in contrast with the zombie, but of course, because of course it is your deepest and robust emotions that give you conviction, that fire up your gut, that get you going, and that motivate you to take control of your own life, of your situation, to speak the truth of what you need and what you demand for yourself. The old must be released so that the new can enter. The grip must be released. The chains must be released. The transformative energy in play here is a beautiful little worm. Take care of yourself. What an interesting contrast. So we have some similar coloring, of course. I do love that this is in the center as a reminder to you of the fact that you do have a perhaps soft, perhaps squishy center, but that there is a core of you that must be cared for. Here, to give you a little bit more detail, a beautiful little worm. Take good care of yourself. While I find the page, I'd like to also point out that 17 is the number in the major arcana of the star card, which is my favorite, but which also seems relevant here because this gives me the impression of great vulnerability, of the need for gentleness. There is a butteriness to this card, a caressing. It's really visceral for me. That's very cool. Let's see. This beautiful little worm may seem very humble and unimportant, but he can teach you about caring for that which seems insignificant or a little strange, yet so very lovable. Many people find you strange, and you often think that no one cares, but you are important, and there are people who love you very much. This creature will give to you genuine care. He will encourage you to rest, to exercise regularly, gently, to be very kind to yourself, to check on your resources and to know what you have and where you may need to build up supplies. And he will help you organize your space at home so that all is not a frantic blur of homework and assignments and the pressure of keeping up, so that you have some place to escape and relax. When you are going through a deep change, you often are most vulnerable. The process of change can take a great deal of your available energy, and while you may feel well and know you can get through it, at times something, a psychic dagger thrown by someone who feels rejected by your change, or a bug who nestles into the hole left by your weakened immune system, or simply old negative patterns, takes its last stand as it knows you are ready to move on, and it tries to stop you. So there will be forces pushing back on your endeavor to break free of your chains. Of course, that's fair. At these times, it is very important to treat yourself as the most precious, gentle extension of divinity. It is time now to rest, to give yourself permission to sleep more, to eat only the best foods, and to make things easy for yourself just for a few days, to choose a beautiful place to rest and to recuperate, to cocoon and comfort yourself for a time. He says, I will show you how. See how closely my friend holds me, and see how the beautiful rose offers me her petals for my dinner and for my rest. She is not holding back. The universe will assist you too at this time, and you will be made whole and healed. This is a time for restoration. You must slow down. Wrap yourself in a metaphorical blanket and drift for a time. Okay. So, the card does specifically mention that you may experience some physical symptoms of a cold. Yes, of course, life, but also there are physical aches and pains that come with emotional turmoil, absolutely. Especially if it is ongoing, especially if it is something in which we are trapped. Emotional turmoil can cause aches and pains as manifestation. And so it is time for you to baby yourself a little bit, to forgive yourself the need for gentleness. And then to demand your right to gentleness. Absolutely. You are inherently deserving of this kind of care. The card suggests the universe is offering it to you now. You're inherently deserving of it. And the card suggests that you might be facing a situation in which you might especially need that. So let us see for your word of warning. For the folks who chose Hilda the Hippo. What is a word of warning for September 2019? What is a word of warning for these fine folks? Word of warning, September 2019. Word of warning. Perhaps the cards are like, well, we were pretty clear on this one. Word of warning, please. Well, what the heck? Okay, fine. Jeez. Which one do I like? Yeah, this one. Okay. The King of Cups, healing. mastery of water, of emotion. So, it is always worth noting that one of the most traditional and literal interpretations of the King of Cups is a doctor. That this might be a time that you are in need of engaging the skills of a specialist, of a medical practitioner of some kind. Certainly that you should... Warning, warning, warning. For myself, because of my background, this is the Minister card. The Master of Emotion. Ideally, of course. Healing. What is your warning? Let us check the book. Physical, mind, emotions. This is beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? You carry your wound. With the ego, your whole being is a wound, and you carry it around. Nobody is interested in hurting you. Nobody is positively waiting to hurt you. Everybody is engaged in safeguarding his own wound. Who's got the energy? But still it happens because you are so ready to be wounded, so ready, just waiting on the brink for anything. You cannot touch a man of the way. The way, the Tao here being the philosophical school of thought. Why is this? Because there is no one to be touched. There is no wound. He is healthy, healed, and whole. This word whole is beautiful. The word heal comes from the whole, and the word holy comes from the same. He is whole, healed, and holy. Be aware of your wound. Do not help it to grow. Let it be healed. Okay. So this might in fact be a good month for you to get your medical checkups in a literal and material sense, but also please open yourself up to the people who are presenting themselves as healers or ministers or mentors. And I don't only mean literally. I respect that many folks don't have pastors. What I mean is, if there is someone of wisdom, someone who comes to mind when you think healer, if there is someone to whom you have access, who is able to look into your eyes and to see your pain and to hold your wholeness, all of you at once, go to them. If you do not know any such people, then start somewhere. So certainly reach out to a psychiatrist or a counselor in order to find that middle ground between this specifically clinical, physical medical doctor and someone who might be able to help to guide you through the emotional tumult of your situation. Basically, find a doctor in whatever sense. Witch doctor? Heck yes, hit me up. Yep, write me an email at holyhellhope@gmail.com for a personal reading. But in general, absolutely, please find someone who can help to heal you. You are going to need assistance. You are vulnerable. You are going to need assistance. You are chained. Okay? Word of solace. Word of solace. Word of solace. What's going on here? Word of solace. All right. Transformation. Okay. So that's tricky. Your card of consolation is the card of death, my friends. This is number 13. This is re-emphasizing the fact that you have reached a threshold of between what had been your normal and what will need to be your new normal, which you will create, which you will absolutely create with the guidance of others. That is a very blue month for you folks, my friends. No, screw it. One more card. No, give me something. Give me something. Give me something red. Give me some yellow. Give me something green, damn it. Give me something. What are you doing? Well, this deck and I are still sorting things out clearly, but... All right, fine. Just a little bit more blue. This is the Ace of Cups. Go with the flow. This is a new opportunity for emotional fulfillment, even though that might mean fulfillment in spite of. Fulfillment in struggling through. Regardless. It's also a new opportunity for emotional fulfillment. It is, in fact, the chance for new growth. And that is a good thing, absolutely. Very blue. So, thank you very much for spending this time with me. Please do like this video and leave a comment if you have some feedback. I am very receptive to it. And as mentioned, you can email me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. And in the meantime, keep an eye out for my videos and take very good care of yourselves, folks. Oh no! Sorry, I fell asleep. I'm in. Group number 3. Okay. So, an oracle of guidance for you in engaging your shadow in September 2019 is Werewolf, exploring your wildness. Okay. So, this is a card about feeling out of control, being concerned that you are unraveling, being concerned that you are losing your grip, your sense of being civilized, your sense of fitting in. I don't know of any werewolf story in which the werewolf was such by choice. It tended to be something that happened to them. They often were not big fans. They had no choice but to turn into beasts at the moon. And also, many stories show werewolves making beautiful things out of that, making it an opportunity to certainly be closely bonded with others through the rawness of experiences, an opportunity to be especially close to nature, especially aware of themselves intimately. Okay. Luminosity triggers it. A wild moon rises, pain and blood and fangs, fur and howling and wolfen guises. The werewolf is a kind of shapeshifter, but one that has traditionally had little control over his wildness. After the end of the European witch trials, an intense interest in the werewolf developed in folklore tales and evolved to become the stuff of horror stories. Fairly consistently since then, the Wolfman or Lycan has featured regularly in tales, both oral and written. What is the healthy balance between our animal nature, one that is wild, free, and connected to nature, and our radically civilized humanness, separate from or dominant of or over nature? The card asks you to consider this balance and to delve into your own ideas of wildness, independence, and of custodianship of the planet. When is the last time you spent all day outside? When's the last time you threw your head back and howled at the moon? This card challenges you to weave a balance between nature and your own nature. Okay. So, I was just recently reading about Greta Thunberg, which of course is the person who comes to mind at any reference to ecological concern. And the passion, the franticness necessary. She says, we want you to act as though the house is on fire, because it is. Sometimes it is important to let yourself be real, to let yourself be raw, to let yourself be wild, not in the sense of unaccountable for your behavior, but organic, intuitive, animal. Okay. So what is your light guidance? Isolde. Undying love. The love you have shared is eternal regardless of the situation. Is this Tristan and Isolde? I think it is. She's not a goddess. Doreen Virtue, what you doing? All right, where's your book? Isolde. I can't say that right, but... Yep. Isolde. My apologies. This legendary Celtic goddess was caught in a tragic love triangle between her husband, King Mark of Cornwall, and Sir Tristan, a handsome and noble knight. Throughout the scenario, she was courageous in dealing with her respect for her husband and her profound love for Tristan. Ah, I see. Her message. When it comes to matters of the heart, your help is here. It's all around you and also inside of you. Your inner wisdom may seem quieted by any pain that you feel, yet be assured that the healing you're undergoing is swift and efficient, and you truly are healing from the inside out. First, your heart must heal from its grief, loneliness, and any feelings of betrayal. This can take some time, so be patient with yourself. Treat yourself as you would any ailing person, with some caution, gentleness, and tenderness. Spend time among the forest and the trees, as well as the plants and the animals, and you will regain your foothold upon this planet. You will revive your sense of spirit and your desire to tread amongst the living once again. I promise you that your heart will mend, and that you will also help others in this fashion along the way. Okay. Okay. So in combination, these cards are talking about the scale of emotion, the kind of emotion that feels like it's going to split you in half. The emotion that makes you want to scream. Sometimes in a good way. Isolde had an incredibly nuanced emotional situation. She was experiencing multiple types of love at once. She had deep companionate love and also a longing for Tristan. that conflict, that duality, that dual nature again. The civilized and the animal, the raw. Isolde seems to suggest that the emotion remains raw, whether you show it or not. So why not show it? Why not allow yourself to speak truth to the enormity of your emotion, the complexity of it, the nuance of it, the depth, the deep value. The transformation coming into play for you is Quetzalcoatl and the Priestess of Time. Hell yes. Hell yes. This was my card, my card personally for the month of August. I've been looking at this guy for a while now. Quetzalcoatl and the Priestess of Time. The time has come. The time to act is now. Number 3. Yep. Acting from the gut. Allowing yourself to expand beyond your imagining. The feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, is at the heart of the Mayan people's traditions, and he is a timekeeper. His return is now, and thus this is the time of most rapid transformation, of the clarity of a thought that can manifest into reality immediately. We are today in 2019 in the most challenging and fantastic times ever on this planet, and despite being an incredibly ancient figure, Quetzalcoatl heralds a shift between worlds of consciousness. He heralds in this new. He and his influence are now the new reality, and those who refuse to step up and embrace the incorporate the new energies will find themselves deep in struggle and unhappiness over and over. It is time to refuse to allow fear to corrupt your courage and do what must be done. It is the right time. Will you shift your consciousness? Will you change deliberately despite the fear and the others who tell you that you were wrong or that you are wrong? Will you move away from fighting, opposition, the either-or mentality? Will you move away from the either-or mentality and shift into a beingness that allows for a much greater reality of balance between the two? The time is now. The time is now. Do not wait another heartbeat. Okay. This is an incredibly potent combination of energies for you. It speaks to an incredibly potent combination of energies within you that are being evoked through you. The intensity of the glare from both of these women, the intensity of this scene, I almost can hear some howling. This is a very vital time for you. A time in which you are going to be feeling things deep, 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 and big and wide. And they may well ripple through your life. Let's get some tarot feedback here. What is a word of warning for these fine folks for September of 2019? A word of warning. Word of warning. Okay. Courage. Okay. Number 8. In the Major Arcana, this is also often called strength. You are being warned that this is going to be a time that will call for great strength. You are going to be building up your emotional strength, your capacity. This is going to be a stress test, quite frankly. And you need to gather up your courage, buoy up your spirits. You need to touch base with your sources of emotional support and motivation. God, that's a powerhouse card as well. Good Lord. Okay, and what's the word of solace for you? Okay. Beyond illusion. Number 20, the completion card. That's beautiful, folks. That is a hell of a thing. Okay. Let me see if I can pull this together into a single message for you. If you have been denying yourself, denying the truth of you, speak it, act it, howl it. Gather your courage, lean on it. You have it, absolutely. By which I mean it is available to you. It is true that you are deserving of all of the good that may come your way. And it is true that you are equal to any obstacle that may stand in your way. These are true things. They do not make the experience of change or of turmoil. They do not make that experience painless. But they make it survivable, and they help us to take those experiences of chaos and create opportunities to thrive. Not only to survive, but to thrive. To reach completion. To find our big picture. To see the total of it without illusions. Without illusions. Without the bullshit. The socially appropriate, civilized expectation bullshit. But beyond illusion, this is not going to be a month for you to waste a lot of time on niceties, on... This is not a month to worry about thank you cards, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, you got bigger things going on here. This is some real shit, my friends. You got real shit going on here. Oh, I feel a burst of ferocity and rejoicing, victory. I feel like I can taste your victory already. I feel enthused, not overjoyed, but fired up for you on your behalf. You have an incredible pack here of energies at play. This is an all-star team, my friends. This is a hell of a month. I hope that this has been helpful or edifying. Hopefully, certainly encouraging. I mean, you have so much available to you, so much potential. And hey, if you find yourself struggling with your personal process, please feel free to email me at holyhellhope@gmail.com. I do personal readings. Please do like, comment, subscribe, etc. I very much like your cards. I feel it. I feel the chutzpah. I can't even do that sound in Hebrew, but I'm going to try it again. I can feel the chutzpah. Amen. Amen, amen. Group number 4. The Oracle of Guidance for you to help you in engaging your shadow this month is Graveyard. Unnecessary fear. One of the things I am most struck by with this card, which happened to pop up just today earlier in a conversation with my husband is how obviously it contrasts with the card in the same deck of zombie, which is of course the point, right? Because graveyard is unnecessary fear. There is no hand springing out of the ground. There is nothing to be worried about, but that's not going to stop you worrying. Your shadows. Unnecessary fear. Here's the thing. You're all smart cookies. I mean, the deck or I can't simply say, oh, don't worry and have that be it. You are aware of the fact that worrying is counterproductive and stress is bad for your health, etc., etc. You do have reasons for your fear. Absolutely. I'm not going to suggest that they are unfounded. I wonder, though, whether they might have, pun intended, expired, right? In terms of if you continue to act on fears of experiences that you had many years ago, it may be that the fear is no longer nearly as relevant for a number of reasons. A, you might not present as the same person nearly as you did then, in which case the same situation wouldn't play out that way for you. B, you have had years of experiences since then to shape a personality that would respond in different ways at this time compared to then. What I mean is, yeah, anxiety can often be resolved, and it is necessary to begin by acknowledging the full truth of it, acknowledging what it is that you fear, validating the fact that it would be painful to lose that thing, because it is almost always loss. Humans tend to act out of fear of loss of some kind. Um, but the idea is that, not that you ought to have outgrown it, but that you may have already done without noticing. By which I mean these certainly aren't patterns that you must continue. Let's see what the book has to say. The stones they mark the eternal resting place, yet the spirits they are walking, and they're ready for the chase. Due to countless stories of haunted graveyards, the thought of walking through cemeteries evokes fear in many of us. We might imagine zombies and ghosts rising from the graves and bad spirits hiding out, waiting to harm an unsuspecting living person who walks by. The idea of being at a graveyard after dark, or worse at midnight, is the stuff of dares and nightmares. But this isn't the way with every culture, and it has not been. There were times when whole families would picnic on the graves of their loved ones, in the United States as well. And of course, to this day, that is practiced in Mexico, especially on the Day of the Dead. Children will play upon the graves. Families bring music and meals and enjoy the company of the dead. Um, yeah, because, okay. So, because the fear feeds on itself, because you may have so little exposure to death at this time in this culture, it is that much more fearful. I get you. Okay. Um, when you pull this card, know that you fear unnecessarily. Things are not as they seem, and you can overcome your obstacles. The anxieties that you have, although real, should be set aside before they haunt you long term. Instead, trust that you know the correct next steps and that you will act upon them. Hmm. Okay. So you may have patterns of anxiety, of second triple guessing yourself, the mental and physical exhaustion that can come with overthinking. Okay. And who balances that? You have the goddess. I wonder if it's Amy. Leap of faith. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. Well, looks like this month, my friends, you are being asked to work on trust issues. Let's see what Doreen has to say about this individual. I don't know that name. Okay, let's see. Anya. What? Yeah, alright, fine. Anya is a powerful Celtic goddess and fairy queen who gave birth to incarnated fairies from her romances with mortal men. Anya is revered in Ireland for helping to grow crops and oversee animals. You can call upon Anya when you need additional guidance and the courage to take risks. Leap of faith. So this would, in that sense, be analogous to the Fool in the traditional tarot. The lightheartedness, the childlike willingness to trust that you will be caught when you leap. Absolutely. Her message to you today, Anya: take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. This is what she says to you. Procrastinating about your dreams won't make them go away. Neither will it make them happen. Indecision is the death of the soul's burning passion to improve, grow, and learn. Don't worry about making a wrong decision. Instead, worry about making no decision at all. Then take time to pray, meditate, investigate, research, go on nature walks, and make your decision. Once made, the universal energies will immediately support your decision, and doors will successively open as if by magic. The magic you see is that you've set your mind to accomplish something, and this intention is what sets you on your magical journey. Trust that the universe will support you in all ways. Trust that your intention is clear and right for you. And then take a leap of faith and jump fully and squarely into the midst of putting your dreams into action. Don't hesitate or delay a moment longer. Okay. So, speaking back to the message about maybe silly superstitions, the how unnecessary it is to fear graveyards. Letting those second triple thoughts hold you back when you may in fact be longing for that leap of faith. The card suggests that there might be even a particular endeavor that you have had in mind. Something that you have wanted to invest yourself into, either materially, of course, in terms of your time, your money, but also just your soul, right? Your muchness, pouring your muchness into something. It's understandable that you might fear losing some of that muchness. You might fear imposter syndrome as well. That if you fall, you will be shown to have been a person who was always going to fall. But that's not the case. That's understandable but unnecessary, and therefore able to be discarded. Just mental block, right? Let's see. Transformative force. Ooh, hello. Orca magic. The Akashic libraries open. Bum, bum, bum. So, I'll admit to you, I don't know much about the Akashic records. I know that it is a term that is used by a lot of, I guess I would say, new agers or new thought practitioners, perhaps. From what I understand, the Akashic records are believed to be the permanent record of all things that are true, will be true, have been true. All of them. All the things. And that they can be accessed on another planet. I don't know. Let's see what it has to say. Orcas are the brilliant physical living reservoirs of Earth and galactic history. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't believe that, but maybe I can. Hold on. They are the carriers of wizards on their backs, according to Norse myth, meaning they carry the great sage lines of transformation and transmutation, and can pass this lore along. They hold this history in the patterns of their ancient songs. One day we will translate those songs and understand our own past times. Earth is currently undergoing a vast initiation. Some have called this an ascension, although what it truly is has nothing to do with high or low, but with an integration of more dimensions, fully awakening your DNA and charging your auric field to a more powerful capacity. Healing, materializing into new forms, and creating will be greatly enhanced at this time. And then it says that the whales are a key to unlocking the mysteries of the past history of the planet, including the times of Lemuria and Atlantis. And I'm just going to put that book down now because I don't know how to feel about that. Okay. So, we got a goddess who I'm willing to bet is not actually a goddess, let's be honest. Probably showed up in a myth once, and I suppose Doreen Virtue was running out of archetypes. But we got Orca Magic, which is the belief in the Akashic Records and the graveyard. Gosh. I mean, I certainly am struck by the contrast of timelessness and obsolescence, right? The idea that some fears we can outgrow, some superstitions can be discarded once we are confidently grounded in knowledge of how things work. Orca Magic, of course, is suggesting that we don't know much of anything because there are stores of knowledge beyond our wildest dream. And here it says the Akashic Library is open and open to you. So, okay. Hey, trust issues. Getting meta here. I apologize to you, my viewer, for my skepticism due to my limited knowledge about the Akashic records and that information, because the message here is that the leap of faith will be accompanied by the response of esoteric knowledge. Not necessarily knowledge that is mysterious to all people, but certainly had been mysterious to you. You're going to be learning a great deal through this experience, and not only in the literal sense of, yes, of course, every experience brings with it new data and wisdom, etc., but also I think the cards are trying to say yes to you, to be sure. A very strong yes. But then throwing you this whole eternity curveball, I guess is where I was going with that. Let's see here. What is a word of warning for the folks who selected The Little Dragon for September 2019, especially if it can tie in some of these messages and help to bring some more coherence? What is a word of warning for this group for September 2019? Transformation, which is a card meaning death. meaning the ending of one thing and the beginning of the next. There is also a completion of symbolism, a snake and a chain, the balanced yin and yang, the lotus blossom, a flaming sword, and the rising phoenix. All of these very evocative and familiar images for the otherwise uniformly human experience of death and transformation. Something is coming to an end for you. It may well be that the fears that you are in the habit of dwelling on might even be blinding you to a danger that you might not be anticipating. Something is coming to an end. Your self-doubt is a fine candidate in terms of what to kill off if given the choice. What is your word of solace then? Word of solace. Okay. This is card 18, Past Lives. In the standard tarot major arcana, this is the moon. So this represents all things that are only half seen, half hidden mysteries, the subconscious, the dream world, hopes and fears. You have the imagery of a pair of hands holding an elongated sphere, an hourglass imagery with the creative initiating power of these lizards. One of the strongest correlations for the moon card is of water, but specifically of the tide, of the patterns of the tide in and out according to the moon phase, the flow, the steadiness of the cycles, feminine mysteries, definitely. This isn't especially gendered. This is about the truth of you. This is about the deepest truth of you. The fears, the obsessive thinking, the cyclical thinking, rumination, they take up energy, they take up RAM on the first few levels, but underneath that, things are going on that are a lot more murky. Okay, let me clarify here. What am I missing? What's the main takeaway? Completion. The world. The big picture. Everything has come together. No, ironically, it certainly has not here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pause this while I give this some thought. I think I've got it. All right. This message is hinging on you living out some family karma, you inheriting some family trauma, intergenerational abuse, yeah, see, no, it's not just you. That's the issue. I apologize. My blockage is I'm really most adept at focusing on a single human being at a time, making, of course, these pick of cards not my strength in and of itself, but we're talking about generations of not just what your soul has been doing in your personal process, but also, interestingly enough, the plot line of the human personas. Uh, what am I trying to say? This is not my jam. Oh, the spirits are messing with me tonight. Okay. This is my understanding. There are two things at play. Your soul experiences many lifetimes and engages many endeavors in order to cultivate your soul stuff. And also, in terms of the linear nature of time on Earth, there are plot lines that play out over many generations and which are coherent in terms of the personas in play. You know, Bob and Sally have 5 children. Now, the souls that make up those 5 children may have never, in my logic here, may have never interacted before, but often it is widely believed that often soul groups do agree to reincarnate together because they might be especially invested in wrestling with and committed to eventually resolving the ongoing trauma or karma that would be bogging down a whole family lineage. So it's possible that families can sometimes be made up of souls with no relationship to one another. And that might be the case here. It might be that your soul doesn't owe shit to nobody, but that the souls in play, the personas, in the material sense, the personas, the Bob and Mary and Sally, the people, are asking you to relive or to answer to the decisions made by people well before your time. You weren't there, you weren't them. This should not be your problem. You have the opportunity to break through, to take the leap of faith, to lay claim to your right to also be a distinct and individual soul on your own without always being weighed down by the baggage of your family, both in this life and across many lives. I'm sorry. If you personally, as a viewer, if you happen to be especially interested in past lives information, you can absolutely drop me a comment and I will go about finding for you and curating maybe a couple of YouTube videos of folks who are more knowledgeable on this subject because it may in fact be relevant to you at this time. But thank you very much for your patience with this reading in particular, but for spending some time with me on this video. Please do leave a like or a comment. Again, I welcome any level of engagement, and I wish many, many blessings on all of you. Amen.